Greetings, all of YouTube. What's up? How y'all feel? And with that, someone cue the theme music. Okay, that's enough of that. Welcome to Wolf King's Vids, Hangout style. What up, secular America? With your host, the ever articulate and badass Wolf King. Anyway, all right. So I was looking through the whole of YouTube, seeing what I could pull out for lulls factor, and we have out of the top list. What we got here? A call for an uprising who's losing his shit over the Satanic Temple erecting another monument in honor of some Memorial Park. Let's watch. He's got some weird ass intro. By the way, I've added some people, so if you want to come in or not, you can do that. It's all good.
Well, the scumbags themselves, the Satanists, the Satanic Temple is at it again. It sounded like they were laying low for a little while they were focusing on getting their satanic filth programming inside of public schools. But again, they're doing what they do best, which is finding anywhere they possibly can to erect their monuments. And that's how it's going to go here in America. Because they're going to use freedom of religion. They're going to find any public place that has a cross, including tombstones and monuments, and they're going to say, if there's a cross here, then we have to have some type of satanic Baphomet nonsense here. And that's exactly what's going on in Minnesota at a Veterans Memorial Park, a park for veterans who lost their lives in war because there was a cross attached to the monument. The state is now allowing the Satanists to erect their own monument in this park. Oh, and it gets funnier. Funny by the sense of how unbelievable the symbolism that they constantly use is, yet they sit there and claim to be atheists. And I'm going to refrain from cursing, because this is the stuff that drives me nuts, why people can't just see the signs that all of us...
I just love just the anger and the outrage that exudes from this guy. I love it. He knows that there's very little he could actually say about this, anything that would actually criticize them as much, other than worrying about the symbolism that triggers him and his conspiracy theory BS. But it's really lovely. It's like, oh, I hate these guys, man. Fuck them. How dare they use religious liberty to invoke their freedom of speech and freedom of expression? That's bullshit. It needs to stop. I just love that. I love... I just love the butthurt in his voice.
Expose and talk about, oh, they're just picking these signs and symbols, right? It must be a coincidence. But take a look for yourself at the Satanic Temple's Twitter. Support the construction, shipping, installation, and maintenance of the first satanic monument on public ground. So they also want you to donate. And these morons who walk around with their Baphomet shirts and their pentagrams on their foreheads like idiots will donate to it. They're asking you to support it. Let me ask you a question, Lucien Graves. That's the pigment eye, the guy with one eye, who walks around lying to everybody, thinking that he's some intellectual. Oh, he's so smart, and he's an atheist, and he's here to talk about freedoms for all, as if we're all morons as Christians, if we don't understand the do without wilt mindset, as if we don't understand how they are trying to get, this is how they're going to erect all these monuments around America. This is how they're going to turn this into Babylon, which already is. They're going to find anything Christian on any public ground, and they're going to get their crap happen there. And the fact that they're still going into schools because there's an after-school Christian program in the school, and then they're allowed to bring their garbage in there, and people go, oh, it's not a big deal. So now they're erecting this monument, and I got to wonder, oh, you need help supporting the monument? Well, why didn't you tell me? Are you providing the toilet paper or me? Because when I see that thing installed on public grounds, I don't know if I'm going to need to bring my own teepee or not. Hopefully you're providing it, because I'll be there. I'll show my support. Oh, yeah. I'll have a nice nachos Bel Grande before I show up. And you can look here, too. You want to see? You want to see? This is a...
He is so fucking mad. Oh, my God. Oh my God, he's so buttered because he knows on some subconscious level that he's screwed in this. That he's got no way of actually pointing out a downside to this other than the fact that it triggers him. Yeah, that's the thing, motherfucker. That's the whole shtick behind it. It's separation of church and state. You got one group in there, you gotta let them all in or none of them in, but you got to keep the separation of church and state absolute and valid. That's the whole reason they're even out there doing this. That's the whole joke. And he gets it. He gets the punchline, and that's why he's so mad. And I love that. I just love the outrage because it causes you to think. It has to have you reevaluate your position on this. I mean, this is what you see. You can't deny that.
See why it riles me up? Because I don't like when, in general, nobody is a human being. We all have the same instincts as humans. We don't all agree, but we have the same instincts. Do you like when somebody plays you for a fool in life? And I know it happens to a lot of people. I never get played for a fool, but I have, I guess, when I was younger. I try to make sure I don't now, but I shouldn't say that
You're getting played right now, buddy. You're getting played up a lot. And I love it. I'm enjoying that shit. How mad you are at the satire.
Don't, because I guess we all have it. Look at this right on their wall. Remember, they're atheists. Halfway to Halloween, everybody, as they celebrate the Beltane. He's talking about the Beltane, the halfway point to Halloween. I mean, oh, right, but they're atheists talking about it's unreal. But get a load of this. Get a load of this. Look at the monument that they're erecting. Oh, is that a cube? Is that a giant cube? That's not Saturn's cube, is it? Well, of course it's Saturn's cube. Of course it is. And the helmet upside down on top of this. How does this honor veterans who have died in the war? Poor veterans who were duped into being sacrifices, because that's really what anybody who goes into war ends up being, who dies, is a sacrifice for them. Because they dupe people into thinking these wars are real. When they control these wars, they create...
Oh yeah, that's a real pain in the ass. How dare they honor them in their own way? That's so terrible. Yeah, they fought and died for our rights and civil liberties and stuff like that, which I'm not going to deny it's a noble endeavor. But yeah, if they honor them in their own way, I don't see how that's an issue. I just think you're just butthurt the way they're doing it. But yeah. Hail Satan for those dying troops and the troops that do fight.
These wars, and the people who go to war and die are their sacrifices. It's a way for them to sacrifice to Satan. Those count, those offerings. Why do you think the word sacrifice is always used? Oh, for those who sacrifice their lives. Sacrifice, sacrifice. Dual meanings to the word, but they're telling you in plain sight. But look at this. This is supposed to honor these people who have lost their lives. It is Saturn's cube. Right, and we've seen this cube all the time. I point out the cube and the symbolism with the cube, with the pentagram, the Baphomet pentagram on it, and then there's just a helmet upside down on top. Wow, it's really honoring them, and the state allows this to go on. Let me read to you. I mean, it's unbelievable. The title says, "The Devil Inside. Furious planners give green light for Satanic Temple to be built in Remembrance Park for fallen war heroes." An unholy row has erupted in a quiet U.S. town after planners gave the go-ahead for a Satanist monument to be erected in a park for fallen war heroes. Locals in Minnesota wanted a special place to honor those killed in combat, but now the remembrance scheme has been hijacked by a row over free speech. What a surprise. And they're going to continue to do that. Now, don't forget, us as Christians, all you got to do is look on YouTube and see how they're censoring all of us. But it's not even about that. Think about all the stories I've done in the last year. If you followed my channel for a year, people
bullshit, by the way, about the censoring.
Who were getting discharged from the.
I mean, it's more general people who make videos that are offensive-esque, but that's going on a rabbit trail. Let me just let this crazy fucker talk.
Military, for wearing crosses, for having scripture quotes on their desk. Kids who read Bible verses during their lunch period in school were thrown out, and the police showed up at their front door. So is this free speech for all, or is this just free speech for Satanists? Well, what it is it's free speech for all except Christians. That's what it is. And for people not to be able to see the signs, it baffles my mind. But if you want to know more about who they are and what they teach, come to my channel. I'll tell you what they teach. And the only reason I know this is because I've studied my enemy, because I cannot stand them. I cannot stand Satanists. I detest the ground they walk on. I detest the fact that they walk around thinking that we're all supposed to be naive and think the devil doesn't exist and that they're a bunch of atheists. Yet they use the Baphomet pentagram. Yet they use the cube symbolism. Yet they mock Jesus Christ and Christians, and they're allowed to. And they target young kids with their poison. Let's talk about how their hero, Crawley, talks about raping and molesting young boys.
Oh, my
Should we
God.
talk about that? Oh, we don't believe that. We believe in the Antoine LaVey Bible, the Satanic Bible, which talks about freedom. Shut up. Shut your mouth. No one's buying it anymore. This is getting ridiculous. I'm telling you, this is the start. And people go, why do you let it bother you so much? Wait till you start. Wait till your children or your grandchildren, if we get that far at this point, are growing up in a world where there's Baphomet statues erected in their schools. Because our generation allows them to manipulate everybody with this freedom of speech, freedom of religion crap, which is really just here now. They're using it to get away with this stuff. They're going to have all of these monuments erected all around us, as if we're not in Babylon.
I'm mad. This is bullshit. This is Babylon. They got all those Satanists out there. I hate them. Okay. Enough of this crazy guy. But yeah. Yeah, that's exactly why it's out there. It's all a conspiracy. Never mind the fact that it's a show that they're putting on. I mean, this is all for entertainment, for art, for expression. That's all this is. That's all this is. And what I think is funny is he brought up the like the I don't know, the alluding to the satanic panic thing. I mean, it's weird, right? You could think of all the witch burnings, all the all the religious wars, like the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition and all that stuff, and the book burnings and all that crazy nonsense. But with all that, I wouldn't say that Christianity should be banned from society. I think things could be scrutinized and criticized for accuracy, but to say that something triggers you, therefore it should be banned, I don't think that's a really decent defense. I think it just demonstrates your, I don't know, I guess just your emotional side and not your rational side. Hey, Christian Anarchist, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Hey, how much did you catch of that?
Catch what?
This guy. His name's A Call for an Uprising. He was talking about this Satanist erecting monument and Memorial Park in America. You want to hear some of them?
Sure.
Your grandchildren, if we get that far at this point, are growing up in a world where there's Baphomet statues erected in their schools. Because our generation allows them to manipulate everybody with this freedom of speech, freedom of religion crap, which is really just here now. They're using it to get away with this stuff. They're going to have all of these monuments erected all around us, as if we're not in Babylon as it is. And our kids are going to grow up around it and be manipulated by it. And they're going to be told, oh, it's not bad. The Baphomet stands for loving everyone, doing what thou wilt, but respecting each other's wishes. It's a goat with breasts and a penis, for crying out loud. And that's how they're going to manipulate generation after generation. I'll continue. It says, trouble flared when one local claimed a new war memorial, a soldier holding a rifle and a cross, should be removed from the Veterans Memorial Park. You see? It says the complaint pointed out the pointed 2-foot steel war memorial called Joe was religious and should not be allowed in a public park. fearing a costly lawsuit, because again, it always comes down to that, right? Just like the After School Saint program, they threatened with lawsuit. No one knows where they're getting the money to afford these lawyers. Oh yeah, we do. Or because our government's funding it. Just like the video I did on Obama and how they got fast-tracked for tax exemption. You know why they got fast-tracked? Because our government supports them.
There's actually a lie, by the way, that they actually didn't. That was through the Reason Alliance, which was non-religious. But what do you think of this guy so far?
I think I understand where he's upset about some of this stuff, but at the same time, I mean, does the statue have a penis, or I mean, because some people, like, I know, over exaggerate things. Like whenever Frozen came out, like some guy or something on a radio station said that Frozen was just like homosexual propaganda or something like that.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I actually, I hate to cut you off. I actually remember what you were talking about. It was a guy wearing glasses, basically talking about how Frozen was a cover to encourage lesbianism. Like he was saying that the sisters were lesbians, and it's like, you ever heard of
sure, Sailor Moon? If you could Google that, if you watch one of the English dubs of Sailor Moon, maybe. But I mean, for crying out loud, I don't think the Frozen has any indications of that.
I have this hypothesis. Like there are certain fundamentalist Christians. I think they look like they impose their fetishes onto cartoons and media and stuff like that. I don't think that's too Freudian, but here's the thing. It's almost like they watch Rule 34, like or Shadman or something, and they get these ideas and they impose it on Disney. It's like, look at this. Oh, look at Frozen. Oh, it's all happy
basically
with ice and
what the fan art stuff is going about.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, basically, like, if they see like some fan art or something like that, like, it involves these characters, they assume they must have gotten that from somewhere besides just simply seeing that the characters came from this particular show or movie, and they thought, oh, well, it incorporates that or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, okay. But going back to this guy, he's mad because it's actually not the Baphomet statue. It's I think it's a cube of some sort that with the pentagram symbol honoring the like the soldiers that died in war and stuff like that.
So it's a pentagram that honors that. I mean, to me, I don't think a cube with a pentagram will do unless we know that the specific soldiers that are mentioned, that they happen to be like Satanists or pagans or something like that. They, would prefer that on there. I think it'd be like, honoring their last wishes kinds of things. But so, I mean, to me, that would be it. To suggest if you if they were Christians and you take it with they're honored with a cube that's got a pentagram on it. I mean, that would, as the saying goes, they'd be turning in their graves, kind of thing. It'd be like dishonorable thing towards the dead at that point.
Well, I gotta be honest. I haven't seen like the whole model of how the cube actually looks, but I get the intentions of why they're doing it. I mean, they obviously see they don't want this necessary grounds to be like dominated by one like view of a group, right? So I mean,
Right.
so the way they're doing that, I think they're either erecting the monument or they're having all the monuments removed, but they're maintaining the separation of church and state, and I think that's an important thing.
To me, like, I think if some individual that does die like makes the request, they want some kind of instead of a cross or any Christian symbolism on their grave or whatnot, and they just want like the coexist or or a pagan symbol or something like that. They want to have that on there. Then I think they're more than inclined to do so, to have that freedom to do that. But at the same time, for certain people, we shouldn't just simply impose certain things on certain individuals, especially concerning the dead, in regard to, you know, because they're, especially if we were talking about veterans, they passed away and they deserve a lot of respect and honor, and the least we can do for them to keep their memory strong is to have them be remembered how they would probably want to be known as, including their beliefs that they had affirmed. Otherwise, you know, not just even referring to religion, if you had like a picture of a guy holding a very large machine gun and just looking like he's like John Rambo times two or something, they kind of, it's just a little stereotype, typical thing, and doesn't really tell too much of the full story about who this guy is, and doesn't really, in my opinion, pay much respect at that point. To me, it's just whatever they would want in a generalization, then that's what we should go for. And you know, when we're making these kinds of monuments and graves
Sure,
for
sure, sure.
them.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I think something like a fair statement to bring up is the fact that there are some atheist or non-religious soldiers working in the military, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
this is more or less carving out a niche for them or that group that's at least, you know, not necessarily like holding a belief in a particular deity. Like this is a way to honor them because there was some issues with non-religious soldiers actually serving. Just the whole notion of there are no atheists in foxholes and all that who don't uh, like care about their country or whatever or something like that. Or I think that's just like just making an like a note that, you know, they're there. They're, you know, they were actually
Mm-hmm.
brave enough to defend their country and not hold that belief. So I think it's more or less maintaining that spear for them, that niche for those individuals.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's an important thing to note. We'll listen to
But,
one more.
but if I can, if I may, I would like to make one more comment about what this guy said about the freedom of religion thing being like
uh,
a
yeah, yeah,
excuse, like
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
like he claimed like it was just an excuse or something like that to carry things out. And uh, one of my favorite guys in the Southern Baptist Convention, named Russell Moore, who, if you're familiar with, during the election, he was the outspoken devout Christian theologian that came about being under controversy by Trump because he said some things uh, that, you know, he wasn't saying vote Hillary, but at the same time he wasn't being too positive about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's like, oh, this guy's a fake Christian and all that stuff. So that sort of Twitter war started. But this guy was at the Southern Baptist Convention that was being held, and a guy comes up and asks, you know, we got these Muslims living in America. Then do you honestly think that it's okay to have freedom of speech to allow them to practice their religion that will cause them to want to kill us in the future? To which, you know, he responds that as soon as you give the government the power to take away the freedom of religion for this one individual group, then it's open season on uh, everybody else, including Christians, who will no longer have the freedom of religion at that point. So, along with having the chance to just preach the gospel to people, it's also just simply allowing people to, you know, have that freedom. Since we're not in a theocracy, we're not trying to impose the governmental law in our own favor, but rather that, you know, we it is like, you know, the old golden rule: treat others as you would want to be treated
Right, right.
concerning this issue. So I just thought that would be interesting to note that, especially from a Christian perspective on that.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. I also criticize Islam because I want to be fair, you know, like equal opportunity for all religions be like scrutinized and stuff like that. One more minute of this crazy guy, and then we're moving on.
How's Lucine Graves? He's probably a homeowner. What's he doing to make money? Walking around, putting up Baphomet statues? What lawyer? How much? Oh, doesn't matter. They'll probably get the dream team. They'll probably get Johnny Cochran out of his bio chamber, his frozen chamber. F. Lee Bailey, bring the dream team back. because they'll win in any court, because we know the protocols of the Elders of Zion are set up. These people will win whatever they can do to destroy Christianity. That's what it's about for them. So anyway, back to what I was reading here. So the statue has a cross on it, and fearing a costly lawsuit, local council leaders promptly ordered the removal of the cross, but the soldier and the rifle remained. But more than 100 residents then rallied to restore the full memorial, which unfortunately, even though that's a good thing, they should rally and they should stand up for God and they should stand up for stuff like this, not be bullied. But unfortunately, this played right into the Satanist hands because this is what they want. To diffuse the escalating row, the city then decided to designate a small area in the park as a free speech zone. Yeah, I'll give you free speech. A free speech zone open to 10 or fewer temporary memorials. The only rule was the memorials must honor war veterans. You're telling me this honors war veterans? It's the satanic pentagram, a pentagram, upside down Baphomet pentagram that they use in black magic rituals when they're raping and molesting children.
Okay, enough of that crazy crap.
Yeah, this.
Well,
that
okay.
guy's something else.
Yeah, I know, right? he's kind of crazy. Yeah, this guy he lost his mind when you know that Arch of Triumph thing was in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost his mind when that thing went up. Because he thought that was something related to child sacrifice and shit like that. I mean, originally they were gonna have the like a model of the Baal Temple like out there, but that couldn't get done, so they did the Arch of Triumph, and he still speculated and posited that was for the sake of trying to, I don't know, bring about child sacrifice or some kind of conspiratorial thing. And it's like, dude, no, it's for the architecture and the history and the culture. I mean, that it got destroyed by ISIS, like a bunch of Islamic religious fundamentalists. It's like, dude, I bet you if he had his way, he'd probably want the same thing happening here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see the thing here is this: he's saying that this is out to destroy Christianity, and it's like, no, the thought is completely independent from Christianity. It's giving an alternative view for people who don't have this particular belief and expressing it in a different way. I mean, that's not. I wouldn't say that's something completely detrimental or harmful to anyone in particular. So, yeah.
Hey man, you have fun. I'm gonna head out. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Okay, that was Christian Anarchist, cool guy. All right, we're moving on. Of this crazy fuck. Okay, who else we got? TVC Mario. Okay. Okay, no, that's stupid. That's fucking stupid. That's way bullshitty. Kanye West deletes Twitter. All right.
All right, hey everyone, it's TVC Mario, and you're here for a video I wanted to make to discuss the Kanye West situation that honestly is starting to get very, very concerning. For those of you who don't know, who are tuning in for the very, very first time, you need to do a little bit of research and find out what is actually going on with Kanye West. I'm going to show you new viewers a playlist that's on my YouTube channel called Kanye West MK Ultra Breakdown 2016. You need to go ahead and take the time to check this out if you haven't already. The reason I'm doing a live show right now is because of information like this. Kanye West deletes Twitter and Instagram. No explanation has been offered. No, we're going to look at this and also a fantastic video that was produced here by The Black Child on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already,
The Black Child. Okay. Part of me, like, I don't know, my inner black guy is trying to scream racist, but at the same time, let me just hear this crap.
definitely go ahead and do that. But we're going to look at this, well, pieces of this, and I recommend that you share it and help this video go viral, because this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. It's nuts. If you know MK Ultra, you know he is in a horrible situation right now. So first of all, I just want to encourage everyone to begin to pray for Kanye West immediately. For those of you who don't know, Hollywood is totally sick, depraved, and twisted. The worst thing that a man can do is get with a Kardashian. They are literal high witches, Satanists of the...
I mean, the messed up thing, I was actually thinking the same thought. Yeah, that you marrying that Kardashian family, you're asking for trouble. But it's not that they are Satanists or Freemasons or any crazy crap that he's talking about. I mean, it's just the drama that comes with it can be a whole lot of baggage. I mean, especially since with in Kanye's life, he experienced having his wife robbed in I think Paris, France, and then getting over his loss of his mother. I mean, he's just been wilding out, like just completely losing his shit, like getting into feuds with Jay-Z after having a damn successful friendship and like business partnership together. I mean, and having his hair turned blonde and everything, talking with the president. I mean, honestly, the dude just needs to settle down. Just needs to calm down, get some meds. But yeah, this MK Ultra hypothesis, I mean, it's just superfluous bullshit.
Entertainment industry, notice that any man who's ever went out with them has their career like completely ruined. Okay, so keep that in mind. Kanye joined himself to one of the most satanic families in the entertainment industry, and consequences of that are now he's an MK Ultra victim. No one knows where he truly is. She has been caught.
I kind of like that. Like, they're the most satanic family. Shit, the Rothschilds, better watch out. They're about to lose their fame or infamy or whatever.
Photoshopping pictures of him saying that he's at Easter, but no, this is not what's going on. So Faith family, we're going to work on this here together in our live stream. This is the first time I do a live stream because I want you guys to help. I'm not going to take any questions or anything on any other topic, but what I want you to do is, while I present this information for the viewers that are going to watch this after, if you can, collect for me more information about...
Oh, okay, we're going to skip to this bullshit just to make this quick. All right.
Worth, okay? The Twitter page for @Kanye West now brings up the site. Sorry, the page doesn't exist. Screen. On Instagram, @Kanye West now yield, sorry, this page isn't available. There is not currently an explanation for either deactivation. Pitchfork has reached out to West representatives for comment and more information. Previously, West's Twitter briefly disappeared in August 2016, at what time it turned out that there was an error with Twitter. West had not deleted his accounts. West has not been on Instagram very long. He joined the platform in September of 2016. So that's all the information that really the media has been putting out. As you can see here, you can go to your news reports and see here that they're discussing this. Kanye West Twitter goes MIA, etc. Oh, man, the creepy pictures of him. Let's see that. Man, do not.
Yeah, I just said his hair turned blonde, motherfucker. It's not breaking news. That shit's been common knowledge.
Do not ever get... Okay, if you're a celebrity, I know some of you guys actually watch these videos. Who's the new one that's with... Is it Tyga or whatever with the other one of the Jenner sisters? Dude, get away from these women.
Whatever you say, faggot. All I know is if Kylie was in my room, Hulk is smashing. Wolf is smashing that pussy. I'm just being dead honest. I mean, sure they're all let out of their minds, but damn, I wouldn't tap one of them. Especially Kylie. She can get it. All right, enough of that.
They are pure poisonous. Okay? Anyways, so what we'll do here, as I mentioned before, we're going to watch this video by The Black Child, okay? And he does fantastic work. I recommend that you guys check him out. But he's covering this, and the video is called Where is Kanye West? And I'm going to break it down here a little bit and discuss with you some important elements. Why are they doing this? It's because I'm after you, Satanist.
What?
Okay, fake tears, guys. That's nonsense. Okay, she's acting. Not even good. Okay. Like, look, not even a single tear. Now she managed.
Oh yeah, because Mario is an expert at crime. Like, this motherfucker knows what it means to shed tears. He sheds tears all the time, you know, because he's mentally ill. It's not an ad hom. This motherfucker literally just does this randomly. It's crazy.
Fake tears. Oh my goodness, that's so disgusting. Okay, listen to what she says here, okay?
I know this sounds crazy. I don't know. I just feel like we need new male energy.
This sounds crazy. We need new male energy? Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? That's whack. Straight up whack. Okay? This satanic coven needs some new male energy, so they're like basically destroying Kanye and oh my goodness. So corrupt. Okay, so this is what actually happened if you're tuning in for the first time. September 19th in 2016, I covered this. He did not have a mental breakdown, okay? We're going to see this. This is MK.
How the fuck do you know? I mean, were you around? Were you talking to this guy prior to this happening? Of course he had a fucking mental breakdown. His fucking wife got robbed and he was getting over the loss of his mom. Like, of course he was losing his shit. This motherfucker been had mental issues.
Ultra. He has memory loss, which is indication to MK Ultra. He's gone missing. He's being photoshopped and stuff. He was rushed off to the UCLA Medical Center. Okay. I actually believe that some of these videos are keeping Kanye alive. Okay. We need to keep fighting because they're not going to be able to off him in one of their typical sacrifices if we.
Oh, okay. Just stop for a minute because I'm a little loaded, but at the same time, I could still see through this bullshit. Okay. Let's just assume, hypothetically speaking, that he isn't going through a mental breakdown and trying to recover from that shit, that he's literally being mind controlled through some MK Ultra process. For what purpose and why hasn't something significant happened to Kanye West as of late? Like two of those important questions. And if they're not answered in the next 30 seconds, then it's complete and utter bullshit. At least without a direct point to make, other than conspiracy nonsense.
Keep exposing it, because I'm telling you, you sick Satanists in Hollywood, I will be exposing you, and the video will go viral. I don't care. You can shut down my YouTube channel if you even try and pull this stuff.
Radically, and his trainer.
So then, the mainstream media, what they tried to do, is using clips here, is they tried to basically say that Kanye went mental, he was hospitalized, all this stuff. This is propaganda. This TMZ Access Hollywood media created
propaganda for what?
Lies is just to keep the public dumb and believing whatever narrative that they want. Now check this out. Kanye West's producer, okay, talking about his memory coming back.
Went to his house. I was gonna go back last week, but we couldn't get together. He had some other stuff he had to do. But
Look at his face.
I sat down with him for about 6-7 hours and just walking through his health and recovery.
Walking through his health and recovery?
His memory's coming back.
His memory's coming back? Why does he lose his memory? Who goes mental, okay, unless it's extreme cases of psychosis, and Kanye was not displaying that he was losing touch with reality. In fact, if you're not a brainwashed person of the media, you will notice that what he was saying on the stage, yeah, it's a little incoherent, it's Kanye style, he's a little bit of a narcissist, crazy guy, but a lot of what he was saying is true, okay? Google lies to you. Facebook.
I just love how this fucking nutcase is trying to tell other people online, well, just given his variety of armchair psychology on a guy he's never met or talked to, that, you know, that it's clear he didn't have a mental breakdown. He just didn't go to pieces. No, it had to have been MK Ultra Illuminati confirmed bullshit. Enough. Get off my screen. But yeah, that is that. Okay, what else am I going to focus on? Okay, so this video was not updated, but uploaded last night. It's my third dialogue with Darth Dawkins. For fuck's sake, I am so sadomasochistic.
You do not have empirical justification for a number of core beliefs about the nature of reality that you hold to, but you hold to them in spite of a lack of empirical verification. So you actually are using an inconsistent criterion.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Do you have a justification that the physical world around you is real rather than illusion?
Yeah, I would say that those are more, you're talking more about basic beliefs. I believe that's what you're
referring to. You need to repeat the question because that wasn't an answer to my question.
I mean, what was the answer to your question?
Do you have empirical verification which would definitively show you that the world around you and your sense perceptions are actually indicative that the world is actually real rather than an illusion?
Evidence that the world is real. I mean, of course not. That's nonsense.
I would say I don't. Like that's
okay. So you believe the world is real without empirical verification? Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just a basic belief.
Is your stated premise that in order not to be skeptical about the existence of something, you need empirical verification? Okay.
You're presupposing that I need evidence for all my beliefs. I don't need evidence for all.
Oh, okay. So could you tell us? Are you arbitrary in your criteria?
DD is bringing up what's known as the problem of the criterion. Let's go through some of the background behind the problem. Let's look at Noah Limos's book, An Introduction to the Theory of Knowledge. In the problem of the criterion.
Yeah, what do we know is the extent of our knowledge, and how are we to decide whether we know was the criteria of knowledge, basically. I mean, I would have been happy to explain to him my epistemology, but I wanted to get him on how does he explain his, because I've already made myself clear about how I actually base the starting point for my worldview. I assume those things because they are self-evident, they are obvious. You know, I don't need evidence or proof for such things, and I adopt those to actually have a consistent and complete epistemology. And I'm not like ontology, just going with that. But yeah, that's just how I actually just come to know things. But he's saying that if I don't make the same exact claims he does, I'm guilty of being arbitrary or whatever the fuck.
Roderick Chisholm identifies two main questions in the theory of knowledge. A. What do we know? What is the extent of our knowledge? B. How are we to decide whether we know? What are the criteria of knowledge? Chisholm distinguishes between three general approaches to these questions: skepticism, methodism, and particularism. Let us consider briefly what he says about each. He tells us that we can formulate the skeptical view as, you cannot answer question A until you have answered question B, and you cannot answer question B until you have answered question A.
Okay, let's
evident, do you mean that it is evident
that particularism is being abused in that very case?
Is it self-evident? Do you mean that it is evident to your senses?
No, I mean it's obvious regardless of my senses.
Okay, how are your core beliefs about the nature of reality obvious? How is it obvious that the world around you is actually physically real?
Well, some properly basic beliefs are self-evident. Not all are. For example, it is not self-evident that the external world is real.
So could you tell us, are you arbitrary in your criteria?
My basic beliefs are not arbitrary. They're grounded in experience. There might not be any way to prove such beliefs, but it's perfectly rational to hold them. In fact, you'd have to be crazy to think that the world was created 5 minutes ago. You'd be mad if you really thought you were a brain in a vat. Such beliefs are therefore not merely basic, they're properly basic.
Here's a stronger way to put Craig's idea that you'd have to be crazy to think that you're a brain in a vat. Imagine you were a mad scientist that invented a brain. Now imagine that that brain thought it was a brain in a vat. You would still think that that brain was crazy. There are a variety of skeptical thought experiments, like an evil demon, a brain in a vat, or a matrix, designed to show that we don't know the things we ordinarily think we know, like knowing we have real hands. What these scenarios have in common is that we are faced with an empirically equivalent situation, where we do not in fact have access to the external world. Since we cannot distinguish between the two scenarios, the skeptic argues that we don't have ordinary knowledge.
Well, it's not possible for a believer to say, we could be a brain in the vat, because that would contradict what God says.
There's no way to prove that the external world exists. There's no way to prove you're not a brain in a vat of chemicals.
Did everybody hear that?
Yeah, that's the difference between an actual philosopher and an asshole pretending to be a philosopher.
To set up the skeptical scenario, which DD says is impossible in his worldview, all we have to do is set up a scenario where some person does not have access to the external world. We are already close to setting up a matrix-like scenario. We can attach a virtual reality set to a baby, such that it never sees the external world. There doesn't seem to be anything impossible about this.
Would the existence and or belief in a creator God be a core belief about the nature of reality?
It's debatable whether belief in God is properly basic. Even if God is responsible for everything in existence, that doesn't mean belief in God is properly basic. That's to conflate ontological basicality with epistemological basicality.
So why do you require empirical justification?
I made the mistake of saying yes to that. I really should have said I didn't know, because that is actually debatable. But yeah, it would still need to be explained, like how the revelation thing worked, which is what I got to later on in the video.
Or justification at all for one ultimate core belief, namely the concept of God. But then when you turn around and in your other core beliefs, such as the reality of the physical world around you, you jettison justification. What is the criterion that would lead you to believe in God? If a particular criterion were to be fulfilled to you, what would that be, and is it non-arbitrary?
I guess if there was some kind of great sign or some revelation.
Empirical verification?
And I would say similarly, the belief that God exists is for those who experience him, a properly basic belief rooted in the experience of God himself. And in the absence of some overwhelming defeater or objection to believe in God, the believer is perfectly rational to accept that God exists, just as we are perfectly rational to believe in the external world or the reality of the past.
Presumably, Wolf King hasn't experienced God.
Exactly.
Okay, what would be a criterion to believe in the existence of God?
I mean, you have to have some kind of evidence or proof that would demonstrate that it would be actually the case.
Okay, good. So God is a core belief, and in order to believe in God, your criterion in order to believe in that core belief would be some type of demonstrable evidence. Now, do you require demonstrable evidence in order to believe in your other core beliefs? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, good. So you're entirely arbitrary in the things that you believe. how is it the case, and please don't ask me about my worldview, how is it the case that there are absolute, universal, invariant laws of logic? And do you have empirical demonstrability for them?
And we'll be back shortly. All right, back. Let's resume.
Because that's your criterion for God.
Why ask for experience to believe in God, but not other properly basic beliefs like the laws of logic? The laws of logic are non a priori, and no observation would make a difference to that. God, on the other hand, is said to interact causally with the world. Absent defeaters, it is reasonable to believe what is self-evident. If you think about the other properly basic beliefs, such as belief in other minds, the external world, or the uniformity of nature, how would experience provide justification for them? It can't. That seems to be a good reason not to require experience to justify them.
Okay, let me ask you this. Like, you brought up the uniformity of nature. How do you reconcile miracles with the uniformity of nature? How do you do that?
It's not a problem at all. The resolution to the situation is that the laws of nature are never actually violated. The miracles of God are the result of God's upholding all things by the power of his will. We have unseen forces acting upon things that we can see.
What DD is saying here is that God doesn't violate or suspend the laws of nature. Rather, God's miracles are additional forces that work in conjunction with them. This is to misunderstand the problem. Let's look to David Hume to explain the problem. Hume writes, if there be any suspicion that the course of nature may change, and that the past may be no rule for the future, all experience becomes useless, and can give rise to no inference or conclusion. If God stops the sun without informing us, all of our past experience becomes useless when we incorrectly inferred that the sun would rise.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if miracles starting to occur left, right, and center, one would need to revise their view about those things. And unfortunately, miracles are not that. They are times at which the laws of nature are suspended for them to occur. And such a thing is either highly improbable, if not physically impossible.
Do you oppose all circular reasoning?
It's glacious, yeah.
Okay, good. Then can you explain to me how anything is ultimately justified or verified?
DD, can you explain how circular reasoning can justify or verify anything?
When they say, well, what I'm saying is it's virtuously circular. You know, well, I'm using circular reasoning, but it's a virtuous circle. It's virtuous circle, unlike whatever the hell you're doing. Yours is a vicious circle. And to which I want to ask, how does when the idea of circular reasoning is that the premise and conclusion are the same? In that case, how does saying it twice superior to saying it once? That's a circular argument. Your premise and conclusion are the same. So you're saying God exists there.
Yeah, exactly. And just to finish it up, let's just skip to the end.
Like, I mean,
Well, you see, I'm going to ask you a question.
Work in your like, how does circular reasoning work in your revelation to God? Like, I mean,
Well,
what?
you see, I'm
Well, I meant revelation from God, but whatever.
going to ask you a question.
No, just answer the question.
How is it that, wait a minute, how is it the case that all circular reasoning is fallacious? Who determined that?
I mean, it's a logical fallacy. I mean, like, if you try to
Stop right there. Are there laws of logic that have been violated?
no, just answer the question. How do you get beyond that? Like, how does that work? Does it begin and end with the glory of God, or like what? Like, how does that work?
I don't understand your very vague and non-specific question. How can I answer you that gobbledygook?
Well, I'm asking. I mean, you try. It sounds like you've invoked circular reasoning in your position. I'm just asking, like, is there?
I'm not. Wait a minute. Whoa. I'm not opposed to all circular reasoning. I'm opposed. Okay, please don't interrupt me. I'm opposed to some circular reasoning. Now I'm asking you.
DD didn't provide his circular argument. We're still waiting for this mythical circular argument.
Please don't ask me about my worldview. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah, and that's probably why I'm never going to talk to this retard again, because he's intellectually disingenuous, and all he does is badger on and just harass people with these never-ending barrage of questions. And it's like pulling teeth when it comes to asking questions for him. So probably not going to go in a room anymore with him, with knowing that he has the mods. So yeah, there you go on that. Okay. Let's see. What we got? This is interesting. Can atheists go to heaven in Islam? A surprising answer.
يعني والله شروط واضحة أن الإيمان هو شرط دخول الجنة. لا مو صحيح. يعني ليس الإيمان فقط هذه ينبغي هو شرط دخول الجنة. لا مو صحيح. يعني ليس الإيمان فقط هذه ينبغي وضح لي الفكرة بعدين دليل عليها عشان بس ما يخص أن من هم أهل الجنة ومن هم أهل النار ينبغي أن تنطلق من آيات أسطورية أو نقول مثل قوله عز وجل لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها وفطرة الناس التي فطر الناس عليها أو فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها. فعندما تجد عجوز عامية من سريلانكا في مزرعتها في كذا ما علمت عن محمد ولا عن الإسلام ولا رأت منه إلا كل شر وتفجير واختلاف، كيف تريدها أن تفهم وتسلم وتقول أن محمد؟ فهنا الله لا يحاسبها إلا بالأخلاق العالمية، شيء الخلاق يعني الأشياء المستقرة، الظلم والكذب وكذا، ولا يضيع أجر من أحسن عملا، لأن الله ترى في الأخير رب العالمين ليس رب المسلمين، والقرآن ذكر العالمين. بس هنا لا أستكمل. العالمية عالمية الإسلام
It's actually pretty interesting.
عالمية القرآن لماذا يركزنا ذكر العالمين والنبي رحمة للعالمين والله رب العالمين؟ هذه اختطفها كما السياسيون جاء بني أمية وغيرها السلطات وعنصريتها وجهلها وجهل فقهائها جعلوا الإسلام الله لنا والرسول لنا والقرآن لنا مع أنه للجميع رحمة للجميع. من هنا الملحد الذي يختلف ملحد يعني هكذا متكبر لا يبحث وكذا وينكر يحب يسب الأديان ورجل باحث جاد ومات قبل أن يجد الإجابات على الأسئلة ولم يؤذي أحدا ولا لا يختلفان، الله بصير بالعباد.
يعني الآن الملحد الباحث ممكن أنه نروح الجنة ونلقاه؟
طبعا ليش لا؟ ليش لا؟ يعني نقدر على كلام الجنة موجود فيها مسلمين طبعا ويهود ونصارى والحديث نلقى فيها. ولذلك أنا قلت الله يقول لا يكلف الله.
This guy, as progressive as his thought is probably dead right now. This is posted 2 years ago. I mean, it's actually kind of interesting, but yeah, it probably would be nice if like, you know, other Muslims thought like this guy.
ونفسنا لو ترى تعمقت الأسئلة الإلحادية وكذا، وأجد شباب يعطوني أنا يمكن في قصور في جوانب العلمية والكونية وكذا، وإنما أركز لهم على المسائل الأخرى، يعني من حيث إثبات الثوابت وإبقاء الأسئلة. نتكلم عن الثوابت، يعني الله تعالى يقول ومن يبتغي.
No, I think I kind of got the point. Yeah. Just throwing a bone. Actually pretty decent. Okay, something we've never seen before. Okay. Yeah, we moved on. Okay. PragerU, why isn't communism as hated as Nazism?
When people describe particularly evil individuals or regimes, why is it that they use the terms Nazi or fascist, but almost never communist? Given the unparalleled amount of human suffering communists have caused, why is communist so much less a term of revulsion than Nazi? Communists killed 70 million people in China, more than 20 million people in the Soviet Union, not including about 5 million Ukrainians, and almost 1 out of every 3 Cambodians. And communists enslaved entire nations in Russia, Vietnam, China, Eastern Europe, North Korea, Cuba, and much of Central Asia. They ruined the lives of well over 1 billion people. So why doesn't communism have the same terrible reputation as Nazism?
Okay, let's see.
In Russia, Vietnam, China, Eastern Europe, North Korea, Cuba, with well over 1 billion people. So why doesn't communism have the same terrible reputation as Nazism?
It kind of does, although not as close. And I think it has something to do with, at least to the best of my memory, like just reading the stories and stuff like that. In World War II, we sort of had like an alliance with Stalin in an attempt to have him uphold Western values. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he at the time we weren't really aware of his reputation as a butcher, you know, at that time. So we basically formed an alliance against him to stop the Nazis. It was only after the Cold War that, you know, then they started getting a bad reputation. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, their system is sort of well known for being notorious and devaluing human rights and civil liberties, and, you know, slaughtering people that didn't fall in line with the program. But yeah.
Reason number 1, there is, simply put, widespread ignorance of the communist record. Whereas both right and left loathe Nazism and teach its evil history, the left, and I'm talking about the left, not traditional liberals like Harry Truman or John F. Kennedy, has never loathed communism. And since the left dominates academia, almost no one teaches communism's evil history. Reason number 2, the Nazis carried out the Holocaust.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. I mean, this information is pretty widespread. I doubt it's really covered up or hidden under the sands of time and shit like that. I mean, you know, these are records. They are documented. So, yeah. I think that's an argument from ignorance, yeah.
Nothing matches the Holocaust for pure evil. The rounding up of virtually every Jewish man, woman, child, and baby on the European continent and sending them to die is unprecedented and unparalleled. The communists killed far more people than the Nazis, but never matched the Holocaust in the systemization of genocide. The uniqueness of the Holocaust and the enormous attention rightly paid to it have helped ensure that Nazism has a worse name than communism. Reason number 3. Communism is based on nice-sounding theories. Nazism isn't. It's based on heinous-sounding theories. Intellectuals in general, including, of course, the intellectuals who write history, are seduced by words, so much so that they deem actions as less significant than words. For that reason, they haven't focused nearly as much attention on the horrific actions of communists as they have on the horrific actions of the Nazis. They dismiss the evils of communists as perversions of true communism, but they regard Nazi atrocities, correctly, as the logical and inevitable results of Nazism.
I'm not gonna lie, there are certain people who are advocates of communism that say that what went on in with Russia, China, Vietnam, North Korea, all these countries that have invoked communism as not being true acts of communism because it didn't follow the formula that Karl Marx laid out. I mean, you know, if that's how they want to look at it, I mean, so be it. But at that time, if you're going to say that, and this is my argument to communism and communists in general, if you're going to say that it never occurred, wouldn't the easier thing to say was that Karl Marx was wrong about communism actually working in a single country, but beyond a small group? But let's continue on with the story.
Reason number 4. Germans have thoroughly exposed the evils of Nazism, have taken responsibility for them, and have attempted to atone for them. Russians have not done anything similar regarding Lenin's or Stalin's horrors. To the contrary, Lenin, the father of Soviet communism, is still widely venerated in Russia. And as regards Stalin, as University of London Russian historian Donald Rayfield puts it, quote, people still deny, by assertion or implication, Stalin's Holocaust, unquote. Even less so as China exposed the greatest mass murderer and enslaver of them all, Mao Zedong. Mao remains revered in China. Every Chinese currency note has his picture on it. Until Russia and China and Vietnam and Cuba and North Korea acknowledge the evils their countries committed under communism, communism's evils will remain less known than the evils of the German state under Hitler. Reason number 5. Communists murdered mostly their own people. The Nazis, on the other hand, killed very few fellow Germans. World opinion, that largely meaningless and amoral term, deems the murder of members of one's own group far less noteworthy than the murder of outsiders. That's why, for example, blacks killing millions of fellow blacks in Africa elicits almost no attention from world opinion.
Yeah, I don't know how world opinion will work. So, I mean, I would like to see some statistics, maybe some numbers that might help. But yeah, let me just keep this going.
And reason number 6. In the view of the left, the last good war was World War II, the war against German Nazism and Japanese fascism. The left does not regard wars against communist regimes as good wars. For example, the American war against Vietnamese communism is regarded as immoral, and the war against Korean communism.
Well, see, the thing with Vietnam is, I mean, at first we supported South Vietnam against North Vietnam, which was a communist state at the time. And then we got involved in it. And mainly it was for the reason people got against it was that it wasn't acting in our national security. It was just randomly going at this country because it had an in-house problem. And it was only after, despite the tactical victories, that it was a wasted war effort that we actually pulled out. And the only people, most of the people that did die were actually Vietnamese. So yeah, that was kind of a failure.
And its Chinese communist backers is simply ignored. Until the left and all the institutions influenced by the left acknowledge how evil communism has been, we will continue to live in a morally confused world. In the meantime, all good people owe it to...
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, fuck all this. This is nonsense. Yeah, people are aware that communism doesn't work. That's not some big ass surprise. It's not a foreign concept, and it's pretty out there. So let's 1 second. Anyway, back to it. All right. So what I got to work with. All right, let's look at some crazy news shit. What do we got to work with? Goofy political ad 2.0. Okay, let's work with this. Let us work with this. Okay, I'm gonna put up the video in a second. Let me just tune it a bit. Okay. Okay, God, there we go.
Reeves is a candidate for lieutenant governor in Virginia, and he released quite an ad for us here. Check it out.
This is the America Obama left behind. Terrorists living here, FBI investigating ISIS nationwide, frightening families. I'm Bryce Reeves. I helped pass anti-terrorism legislation here in Virginia, and as a former police officer, I'll support our cops and fight to defund sanctuary cities. I'm Bryce Reeves, candidate for lieutenant governor, and I sponsored this ad.
Okay, that was...
Wow, that was kind of ridiculous. So apparently, by having people actually move in like immigrants, it's therefore allowing terrorism. I really don't get the message of that. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I guess fear mongering is a tactic, but there's no real actual empirical evidence to back that up. I don't see how that's of any real substance. You're just trying to get people who have post 9/11 conspiracy nonsense on your side, so you can get votes. Yeah, that's kind of sad. All right, moving on. I think we're gonna focus on one more story.
We are two-legged.
Okay, what do we got?
You need a website.
Okay, no. Fuck ads. I hate ads. John Walsh, U.S. can't have Medicare for all because of diversity in inner cities. Okay. Yeah, take it away, Kyle.
Of MSNBC spoke to former Congressman Joe Walsh about
No,
healthcare.
Joe Walsh, my bad.
This was bizarre and this was ugly. So Allie's gonna hit him with a bunch of facts, and Joe Walsh's responses, I mean, it's like he's not even trying to make sense. So, and note the main argument he keeps coming back to as to why he doesn't think the U.S. can have single-payer health care. Let's watch.
Some figures. I'll read them to you because I know you probably can't see them there, but let's just talk about healthcare spending per person in the United States versus other countries, right? The average of all developed countries, I've used OECD countries, this is from 2015, is $3,814 per person. This is all spending. This is insurance. This is what you pay out of pocket, everything, what the government pays. In the United States, that number is $9,451 a person. Strikes me, Joe, as a conservative and a Republican, that's the problem right there.
Bingo. And the reason, Ellie, that's the case is because we don't have a real market for healthcare. Healthcare is expensive because somebody else is paying for it for most of us. Your employer, government, or the insurance company.
Right.
Unless we grow up and most of us take care of our day-to-day healthcare expenses, this isn't going to change.
Okay.
Government should always be there for the needy, but the rest of us have got to assume more of these costs.
Let me give you another example. I'm going to rank healthcare outcomes by country, right? Again, same thing. OECD countries. Let's put that up and we can discuss this. Number one of all these OECD countries, all these developed countries in the world, Britain is number one, Switzerland's number two, Sweden's number three. These are 11 countries. The United States is dead last. Now, you know what the other 10 countries have in common? There's no market-based healthcare. There's universal healthcare in all of those countries. So, Mike, I hear what you're saying, and I'm a business guy, Joe. I generally think business can do things better than government. But in this case, there isn't a single example in the world of a healthcare system that runs in a free market.
Ellie, you can't compare the rest of the world to us. They do not have the big, diverse populations that we have. They do not have the inner city populations that we have.
Let me show you the last one. I'm going to show you the last one. U.S. performance rankings in terms of actual quality of care. Quality of care, the U.S. comes out 5th out of 11. Access to health care, 9th out of 11. Efficiency, equality, and living healthy lives, 11 out of 11. Joe, there's nowhere we succeed. This is the best country in the world with the biggest economy. We just don't get it right anywhere on healthcare.
But we have the highest quality of care, which is why people come here when they really need high quality care.
Very few people come to America. Very few people come to America for healthcare.
But again, the problem is
rich people come to America for healthcare.
For the best quality of care in the world, Allie. Absolutely. The problem is we have Medicaid that's broke, Medicare that's broke, Social Security that's broke, and now we've just got another entitlement called Obamacare that will bankrupt
this country. So how do I convince you that for all those outcomes, I mean, Joe Walsh, if you want to live a healthier life, better access to health care, you want to live longer than anybody in developed countries, and yet I've proven to you that 10 out of 11 countries do it better than America, but you won't do it.
I love you, my friend, but you cannot. Sweden does not have our inner city population. Norway, these countries do not have. You're talking about countries the size of India with homogeneous populations, Ellie. You can't compare them to what we have.
Canada. No, that's not Canada.
Oh, my
as multicultural as the United States, if not more, with a 15% corporate tax rate and lower personal income tax rates than in the United States. So even the argument about I don't want to pay more taxes, you go to Toronto, you won't pay more taxes, and your health care is free.
Not at all. You'll pay more taxes there, and the quality of care isn't as good.
You 100% won't pay more taxes
Allie,
there,
you'll
Joe.
wait longer. You will
Just
wait
not going to
much
happen.
longer for
You're
care.
in Chicago. You know how close.
I mean, honestly, okay, so this is my final video, and this is going to be my response. Yeah, so this guy, yeah, he's just basically talking nonsense with his, oh, we don't have, all these countries don't have our inner cities or our diversity and all this stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like what the guy said. Canada's more diverse, and they've got you know, universal healthcare for all. All these other modern countries that are rich have universal healthcare for everyone. 60%, according to a Pew report, says that 60% think government should have some control over healthcare. And you need that. You need a healthy, sustained population if they're going to actually work in the economy, produce innovation, and you know, actual money for the economy to actually flow and for people to actually be happy and for society to progress. You're going to need them to be healthy and have access to decent medicine. If you have them competing over this stuff, competing over scraps for their health, it's obvious that we're not going to grow and progress. I mean, that's obvious. And the numbers reflect that. The statistics reflect that. The facts and figures reflect all that. So, yeah, this guy, to try to pawn it off on diversity and inner cities as if that's an argument, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's amazing he doesn't talk about the fact that it's corporatist in nature. Never mind that, you know, because that actually has substance. You know, never mind that there are more tax credits for the rich and not for the lower and middle working classes, even though you need that strength and if you want everyone to do better. It's just the diversity and all this other stuff. It's nonsense. It's bigotry, and it's just propaganda and BS. That's all it is. But yeah, this has been my hangout. This has been Wolf King. What up, secular America? Peace out. If you like this video, you know what to do. And peace out and chill. Later. Hail Satan. Bye.